What is up, guys? My name is Sparrow, and today I am doing a guide video on one of the Smite gods, that god being Chronos, and basically how to build him into ADC. And with me I have Blake, and he does a better job at explaining the build than I do. So, Blake, tell me a little bit about Chronos ADC and about the items that you build into. Like, what is the first item that you're gonna build into here? Like, what are you
Right off
gonna
the
build
start, I
into?
usually just pick up telekinesis ring. It's really good to build up your defense against anybody that's magic based because you get the protection. Plus, with each attack, not only are you getting the attack speed, but actually you're going to be doing 40 magical bonus damage with it. So it's definitely the first item I pick up anytime I build Chronos.
Right. So that's the first item that you build into is telekinesis ring.
First item. Same with the skills. You probably want to go into your 2. Because with your 2, it's going to buff up your movement speed, but it's also going to give you that attack speed.
Right.
Pretty much everything's kind of focused around the attack speed.
Yeah, as I say, so all the items that you're going to want to buy are mostly going to be maxing out your attack speed.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I mean, I don't know where boots come into play. I actually like to get it like second item most of the time, just because that's usually what every other ADC does.
Right.
But you can really play it any way you want. You can go into Vitalis. You can go into Demonic Grip, which is actually really good, especially against like the tanks. A lot of times the people try to build up against any kind of like MR. Well, actually, any kind of magic in general, and the Demonic Grip just shuts that down. So that's what that's good for. See, if they build up against you, you go for Demonic Grip.
Did you get
if they
both?
don't, I mean, the telekinesis ring actually falls off. It's a little bit, less powerful later in the game. But as a first game item, that 40 bonus damage that you're going to be putting out every single time you hit them is actually really huge.
Right.
So, like I said, it always gets started first. And then you can see right now I'm buying the boots. I mean,
what boots
I don't know
do you
how
buy into? Is it penetration or cooldown?
I would go for penetration.
So
I think that would be the most beneficial. Yeah. That way you don't have to worry about it later on, too.
Okay. I think in this game, you actually got both the telekinesis ring and the demonic grip at the same time. But do you sell the telekinesis ring after, like, mid-game, late-game?
I would never sell it mid-game, but if you're sitting on a full build, anytime you're sitting on a full build, you can probably swap it out with another item. I mean, it's not even advised, but you could go into, like, the Rod of Tahuti or something like that. It's going to give you a lot more damage output. It's just that this is really good for, I don't know, just
game.
Yeah, say if you're mid laning in Conquest and you have another mage you're playing against, having that magic resistance is going to be huge. It'll give you the upper hand on any mage. But I mean, it really depends on your matchups, but if you focus on just going into lots of attack speed and maxing out your 2 first.
Yeah. Because the 2 is the increased attack speed, right?
Increased movement speed and attack speed, yeah.
Okay. So I always get that backwards with this 3. So would you ever buy into cooldown so you could pop off your 2 like constantly, or you just focus solely on your basic, attack speed?
I mean, I would definitely go into penetration, but if you're playing somebody that gives you a lot of harass, they're always just putting damage on you. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to get cooldown, because then not only is your 2 coming up, but also your 3 can just freeze them in place. And that's where a lot of it comes into play. Like, if you can just freeze them in place, get a couple hits off, and then do it one more time, I mean, you could pretty much take off their entire health bar. But that's another thing. It's a totally different game when you're playing against, I don't know, 3 people in a mid lane, or if you're playing Conquest in mid lane. Like, I think this setup actually works really, really good in a 1v1 scenario.
Oh, 100%, yeah, for sure.
But it's a lot of fun no matter what you're playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's my next question. Like, would you ever play this build, I guess, in like an arena?
In arena? Yeah, I think I would.
Is it?
I don't think it'd be too bad. It is definitely hashtag worth.
Okay, so what is this? What are you building into the 3rd item?
That's the Fatalis.
Okay, and that's
that with every successful attack you hit on them, you're gonna be granted what is that? No like reduction to your speed. Basically, you can just hit them like you're walking normally. You don't get any kind of penalty. Plus, you get a ton of attack speed from it. So, if you want to break out the jukes, that's pretty much the item you're gonna go for.
Right.
Oh yeah.
The jukes. So I really like the way that Chronos's skills basically set him up to be ADC. Some people, they don't really expect it, which is awesome. You come out like attacking like a motherfucker, swinging on people. So I like this build a lot. What's your fourth item that you build into?
Demonic Grip is really, really good if they build up any kind of defense, but I wouldn't get it next item if they don't have any defense yet.
Right.
If I'm playing against somebody like, they have a Cupid on their team, maybe I'd build into a Witchblade, because a Witchblade would pretty much shut him down pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look for those scenarios, and because everything's in one lane right now, I mean, using any kind of item with aura, like Witchblade would be really beneficial, but it really depends.
Right. And you also got Hand of God, which is interesting.
Yeah. That's just for clearing jungle. I tried to steal their speed buff.
Nice. So just for being a dick.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you can do a lot of that in Joust. Pretty much just starve them out. If I were to look at actives for this, I mean, Sprint is obviously a good one, but I mean, there's not really a second one that you really need unless you need beads or something like that. But I mean, this matchup doesn't really call for it.
Right. Like I said, situationally, and already your attack speed is you're like basically kids. Like I was amazed watching this while I was recording it. I was like, yeah, I tried to do the attack speed thing like when I played like that one time. And I guess I didn't really grasp the concept because I'm watching you play, and I'm like, the attack speed is crazy. It's crazy. Like late game, even mid game, like especially with this 2, the attack speed is retarded.
That's where it comes in too. I mean, people right now they really don't expect just a huge burst of attack speed. Once you get your 2 maxed, I think it gets you to like 35% attack speed bonus. And your movement speed is going to be like an initial 20%, plus it gradually increases to another 20%. So I think you're getting 40 bonus speed, which it's extremely tough to hit somebody that's moving that fast.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you're able to kite them really well too. You could probably just walk backwards.
Exactly.
And just as they're trying to chase you down, you just mow them down really.
Yeah. And you're just basically slinging poop at them at this point.
Pretty much.
What's your fifth item?
Yeah, the Winged Blade too. I just looked it up, but it gives you a little bit of cooldown, 10%. Plus, it gives you a little bit of attack speed, also movement speed, which is already crazy.
Right. Definitely.
350 health. But the big thing is the person on their team, Cuckoo Clan. He was doing the most damage. He was the highest level on their team, and really, he's the only guy that could slow me, but the passive ability on the Winged Blade actually makes me immune to slows.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it makes my movement speed increased again. And, I mean, it's just kind of a fun build anyway, so I figure, if he tries to slow me, he's going to get really, annoyed seeing that I'm just getting even faster and faster.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of the reason I did that.
You're
Typically with this build, yeah, I mean, it gets faster than most ADC builds get.
Definitely. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like, I know you do ADC Nuwa, which is nasty fucking attack speed as well, but with his 2, I mean, you take the max and you just take it even further. I feel
you
like... You
really do.
I feel like Chronos would be, I mean, as far as, like, outside the meta and being a mage, I feel like he would probably be your best bet as far as, building into ADC.
It's a little bit questionable. It comes down to, it comes down to your 2.
Yeah.
And because of that, it makes it a lot faster than Freya can get with her attack. But Freya is also a really, really good idea. It's a good option for ADC.
Yeah.
So between those 2 mostly, if you were to go the Nuwa route, the only reason to do it is really because of the stuns. If you're hitting all your shots, pretty much. If you hit all your shots, it's like really fun. But if you're missing your stun after you hit them 5 times and you miss it, I mean.
So your last item, Rod of Djibouti, and that is basically for damage.
Basically, I mean, it takes 20% of your magical power, and it puts that into your damage as your base damage. So Rod of Tahuti was a good choice for me, just to bump that up.
Right. Well, in this instance specifically.
Yeah. I mean, almost any time if you can get that as an item and you're not worried about, you know, taking too much damage. Depends if you want sustain, which that's where the Witchblade would come in. That gives you really good sustain against other ADCs. I mean, it would kind of work its way in.
Right.
So
I guess I mean, you know, without being biased, just what would be your favorite, like, magey ADC? Is it Nuwa, or which one is it? Like, as far as, like, damage goes and, like, shitting on people. Not, like, how fun it is, I guess you could say.
Oh, man, I mean, just for damage and how much fun it is, it'd probably be Chronos.
Chronos?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. He does so much freaking damage, and he's so fast, and you could just outplay people. You can just spin around circles on ADCs. So. Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, getting those outplays are just way too much fun.
Right. Awesome. Alright, well, thank you, Blake, for being in this video with me and explaining probably the best Chronos build ADC that I've ever seen. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and let me know with a like or a comment, and sub my channel for future guide videos on Smite gods that are outside of the meta. We are breaking the meta, and we're gonna have a ton of fun doing it. So stick around. Thanks as always. Love you guys. Peace.